Welcome back to the Create Harmony podcast. Let me tell you what you're going to find here. In this space, we settle into an intentional rhythm, and it's one that helps us savor life's blessings and ground ourselves in gratitude. And today, we get to expand that space a little wider. I'm going to be joined by a guest whose work and presence reflect much of what we value here at Create Harmony: connection, intention, and a deep respect for the rhythms that shape our lives. So wherever you are, settle in, take a breath, and join us for this conversation. All right, welcome back to the Create Harmony podcast. I am your host, Sally Burlington, and this is episode 174. And we are excited to have our friends Cody and Johnny from Unhinged Coffee. And welcome, guys. So glad you're here.
Yeah, we're super excited.
Great. Well, we want to hear all about your brand, and we'll start from how you got started in the coffee business. So take us back to where this started.
It feels like it's been a few years, but this is all very compacted into 1 year, really. So
Feels like 12, but it was really one. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Neither of us were in the coffee industry. Obviously, as a consumer, we left coffee, and we definitely, I think, were able to witness kind of how coffee pulls community together. But neither of us were in the industry. I myself was. We're both in corporate America. I was focused more in the finance and risk management sector, whereas Johnny is more in like the marketing space as the marketing director. And so we both kind of had our careers. For me, I was really focused on, or at least I was really feeling at the time of kind of going through this transition that I really needed to connect with people. I really wanted to be with community. I think I was so heavily focused on just getting through the day and, hitting what we needed to be taken care of, managing your team, making sure the company's performing, all of those things that everyone does. But it wasn't working for me anymore. It was also kind of on the tail end of my dad passing. And one of the ways that we connected was through coffee. And so he was he drank coffee morning, noon, evening. We'd call on the phone, even though he was in Nashville and I'm here in North Carolina. We'd talk on the phone and have coffee together. And so it was just a way for us to connect. And so I think, for me, coffee has always kind of had a special place, other than just keeping us going. But yeah, so go ahead, Tay.
Yeah. The part that I think is very interesting and funny, to me at least, looking back at how we started, I still remember it like it was yesterday. We had both just so happened to take like about 2 weeks off during the holidays. And it was, we were both in corporate America. So we had finally had a moment to slow down and actually not have work. And I was in our living room. I don't even know what I was doing, but I was just sitting in the living room and he comes over and he's like, taking in all of the rest and just being able to breathe, and looks at me and says, sometimes I really wish I could just quit corporate America and do something like, I don't know, make coffee. And I, in that moment, jokingly had said, oh, it's so funny for having the last name Mocha. I don't think I've ever actually touched any business that's even related to coffee in marketing. And he kind of came back a few minutes later and was like, it'd be so cool to start a coffee shop. And in that moment, I didn't really take him seriously, to be honest. So I jokingly had like worked on our logo of Unhinged Coffee Co. because I thought, oh, that's such an unhinged idea. And like was playing around with it just because I had, the time and thought it was really a unique design. And so then I brought it up to him a few hours later. He kind of like takes it in and walks away. And I don't really remember what he said in the moment, but he liked it. And I know he just kind of took it in and walked away. And that's sort of where I left it at, right? Like it was just a funny joke and we were moving on with our day. little did I realize he was going to show up a few hours later and have an entire mapped out plan in his head over how he actually wants to do this. And that is the logo he wants. And then he explained, the mission that he wants to be rooted in, and why Unhinged was actually like the perfect name for it, and so forth. And I still did not take him seriously, to be honest.
I think it's important too to just recognize for a minute that he builds brands for fun. Like he created this just like side task. Yeah, for like a hobby, just for fun. Let me create a whole brand with a whole brand kit. But when he came up with Unhinged, it connected to, at least in my mind, it connected so well, because if you know us and you know us well enough, you know that the two of us are chaotic. We banter a lot. We tend to be a little bit, we're just a lot sometimes. And so I always think of the word chaos and Unhinged as, kind of how we may be perceived at times. And so, that kind of led into the whole, well, I don't want to just serve coffee. I want to have a mission behind it. And so that's kind of what led us into the mental health space.
Yes, tell us about that.
Yeah, mental health advocacy is really important to us. I've struggled most of my childhood and adult life with anxiety, and worked through with therapy suicidal ideation. Johnny, he's worked through ADHD and that sort of struggle. And so that is something that I think a lot of people tend to either struggle with or are working through, or maybe haven't identified that they're struggling in that way. But I think it's also one of those things that doesn't get enough attention. There's not enough what is the word I'm looking for? Sorry. There's not enough reach. It's not as accessible. Sorry.
Right.
It's not as accessible as we would like.
There's the stigma too. I mean, mental health conversations have their own stigma. So I think this is great to pull this into just a mainstream conversation.
Yeah. And that was kind of the goal, is how do we create a connection for people, for community, but also bring in that additional layer of, hey, we want our coffee to be great and we want you to enjoy it, but we also want to make sure that coffee is the vehicle, but our mission's rooted in mental health advocacy and wellness. And so that was kind of where all of that led to. And so that's allowed us to build a lot of really great, relationships with different practitioners and clinicians throughout the Raleigh Triangle area. Allowed us to really work with some different nonprofits and think of some outside the box events and ideas that keep our mission alive, but also allow us to grow, allow us to reach more people, and kind of allowed us to create this space that people feel safe. And if they need to come in and just breathe or be around people that have some of those same struggles, and just being in that space and being around our presence allows them to feel some comfort. And that's what we want to create.
And I know that you guys originally were just coffee trucks, or you had a coffee trailer, and then just recently you've opened a physical space, and it's great. I've been to your physical space and it's great. I don't want us to miss talking about the fact that your sort of your tagline is "Sit through the struggle," because I think that's amazing. I love that. So
and
tell us more about your coffee trucks and your space.
So in this whole timeline, right, we went back to work, and I really didn't think much into it at that point. I did not, I guess, realize that I put my work hat back on. I went in, know what I was working on, and his wheels were spinning. I think it was late January, early February, maybe, that he randomly calls me on like a Thursday or a Friday, and the entire conversation was, I'm on my way home. I quit my job. I ordered a coffee cart, and I'm starting Unhinged.
Wow. To be fair, there was a little bit more notice of, I'm putting my notice in.
there was a lot more planning and
Yes.
thoughts on his side. For me, though, that was my entire Friday. So it took me a minute to absorb it all in, and then I got home and he really broke it all down. What he had been working on and what he had been planning. So we did start with a coffee cart. It was a way for us, obviously, as a new business to get started, but for us to also play right into what we were trying to achieve, which was going into our community and being there for our community across all spaces. And so we did a lot of pop-ups, a lot of markets. We still do. We very quickly sat down to kind of process, all of the details of our mission and what we wanted to do with our brand. And a part of that was looking at our own lives. So for us, when we would, go into a weekend or go into an evening, oftentimes the only option for adults as well are to go out drinking, eating, or maybe shopping. There's very few opportunities to what is like a third space or a safe space or anything like that. And when I think of that space, I think of a coffee shop. And that's really where we would go during the day. But even towards like late afternoon, evening, there really wasn't anywhere that also served that purpose. And so as we had gotten closer to creating or opening our physical location, that was one of the largest, I guess, intentions behind the physical location, and why we are still working towards expanding to, an all-day service hour and being open into the evening and serving decaf lattes and everything else, so that we can truly have that third space and that safe space for everyone all the time.
I think it is important to highlight too that we didn't just jump straight from coffee cart to brick and mortar. We originally really wanted to order a trailer. Aero built out of Nashville, Tennessee. They build these amazing trailers that are suited to coffee service or dry bar or whatever it is that you're looking to do, and they're all built to code. That was not in our immediate
reach.
Reach. So coffee cart was the next best thing, and it did allow for a lot more accessibility.
To be fair, in Unhinged manner, we did order our coffee trailer at the exact same time that we also did sign the lease for the coffee shop. So we do actually have 2 event cards, a coffee trailer and a coffee shop now.
Okay, absolutely. Jump right in. Why don't you?
It's a little crazy, I know. But we started with the coffee cart and we transitioned quickly into when Johnny was talking about creating that space. We had the coffee, we didn't have the space. And so we started looking at, okay, well, we know we can't just pop up and get a coffee shop in a matter of, 3 months. We've only been operating. We don't have the ability to scale that quickly. And so we started trying to think of just different businesses within our community and in our network that were underutilized. And so initially we found a venue that's here in Nightdale, actually our next door neighbors now. But found a venue. We started operating out of their venue. 5 days a week?
I think so.
And it was a lot of work. Like we had to go in, set up every day, break down every day. It was like putting a coffee shop together every day and every night, taking it down, and it was a lot. But we did it because it allowed for us to get our foot in the door and allowed us to create that space and start building that community and start building that brand recognition too. And then from there, we kind of grew and we went into a bar, which was called Rewind Retro Bar. And that bar actually kind of gave us that next step up where it actually had running water. It had, different equipment that we didn't have in the venue that we had to kind of supplement. So it made our lives a little bit easier, but it was still not our space. We were still utilizing someone else's space. And so when the opportunity came around for that bar their lease was ending, they were kind of on their way out to either sell or liquidate. We made the decision to try and make it an effort to secure that lease, which came with a ton of difficulties because it wasn't an easy task. And then there was an owner of that building is already trying to secure a different bar. So we really had to start reaching out to some different folks to see what kind of support and help we could get to make it happen. And somehow that all kind of came through with some amazing community members that really wanted to see our community succeed, see Unhinged succeed, and so we were able to get the doors open and get a lease in a physical brick and mortar space.
Love, love. And your space is so great. I mean, it's so cozy and warm. And I don't want us to miss talking about the fact that you have such beautiful artwork and murals in your space. So tell us a little bit about that, how that came about.
Yeah, so our general manager, Ashley, she was a huge part of Unhinged from the beginning. Cody can tell you a little bit more about how she found us and how that all started. But as we had transitioned into kind of putting together our new space, we knew that we wanted to be able to utilize her for the art. She is a muralist. She does it pretty regularly, not quite as much since we consume most of her time now. However, we knew we wanted her to do the art for it. So her and I collaborated very closely on, what exactly we were going to do, what walls. At the exact same time, we were having the trailer wrapped. So the same exact stripes that were being painted in our coffee shop were getting painted on the trailer itself. And I can honestly say, out of all of the design work I've ever done in my life, I think I would rather stay to digital design work before I would ever try to do what Ashley did, because I don't think I could. She is a superpower that I cannot mimic. Not just her work itself and the attention to detail that she puts into it, but the overall stamina, I guess, that she has for it. I mean, our logo alone on the building, of the exterior side of the building, I think she stood on a ladder for like 16 hours to paint that.
Wow.
And he forced her to come down at one
We
point.
forced her to come down twice for 30 minutes.
Have a sip of water. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She stood on that ladder painting that logo on the building the entire day from sun up to sundown.
Awesome. Well, it's very beautiful, and it's such a warm and inviting space that you've created. And I love your unhinged wall. Tell us about the unhinged wall.
Yeah. So we started that actually at the coffee car. So we used to bring an easel with a board. And we used to tell people, leave an unhinged moment. It can be anonymous. It can be a confession, encouraging thought, a frustration, whatever you want to put on the board. Like, you were open to put it, sign it, don't sign it. That's your call. And people really loved it. And people really opened up and were able to just connect with each other. And we really enjoyed it from our point, especially reading some of them. What I think we didn't anticipate, which is a really big positive, when we went into our new space, we really wanted to put the wall up, right? And continue this thing that we were doing. I did not, I guess, realize that because the wall would always be there, these sticky notes would always be there. And so something that wouldn't usually happen at the coffee cart was that people were going to connect with each other even more than just in that moment. So a sticky that may have gotten put up, a month ago is still there. And so somebody else coming in now has grabbed a sticky note and they're responding to the previous person's. And now there's some in there that have 6, 7 people. They just respond to each other or encourage each other
or laugh with each other. It's, some of them are really out there. I will say that there are definitely some unhinged moments, but seeing people who have no idea who the other person is connect and create a thread of support or motivation or just, hey, that happened to me too. Like the connecting in that way has been really amazing. And I don't know how we can top it. Like, I don't know where we go from here, but I think it's incredible to see, and I'm hope that we can continue to kind of keep it going.
I was just gonna say, people keep asking what we're gonna do as the wall is filling up.
Oh, yeah. Good question.
Yeah, I have no idea. I anticipate it. I mean, it is kind of already filling up, but I'm all for just keep adding them on there. Let it create some layers, and then we will figure out what we're gonna do next. But I know that I don't want to lose any of them either. So that's what's really hard.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited. And it's incredible to see people share and just be vulnerable with each other, with themselves and the community.
Yeah, I love how when you put yourself in a posture of wanting to create community, then it organically came in so many different ways, which is, it's amazing. That's great. That seems like what you guys are good at. So among many other things, I'm sure. Okay, I want to hear more about, I know you have lots more steps and stages in developing your space and visions and dreams and all things of where it's going. So tell me a little bit more about sort of how the transition's coming in.
Yeah. So from a physical standpoint, we are actively working on getting our ABC license, which will allow us to just serve a limited selection of some beer and wine and some THC beverages. What I tell everybody is, even at this current point, you can get any type of latte or drink, espresso-based drink as a decaf. We do have a decaf espresso, and that will continue into the evening. And we also we won't turn into a bar in the evening. Like, that is not the intention. Yep. We are always going to be the same coffee shop in the evening, but if you want a glass of wine, that's fine. And we'll have that there. So
the same goes for 11 a.m. if you need a glass of wine instead of coffee. No one is judging you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our hours will extend at that point. We already are 7 days a week, so that'll continue. We are very, very, very fortunate that we actually got a unit that has an incredible kind of side alleyway patio situation. So we will have an outdoor patio set up. We are doing multiple events where we actually utilize the entire alleyway alongside our building for like markets, and we'll actually be utilizing it this Friday for our ribbon cutting event. And we finally, I think, got confirmation today that our actual furniture is shipping, despite multiple delays. So as you saw when you were there, all of those tables will be our patio. All of the back area will be set up with communal tables, and we'll have some more comfortable booths and tables up front. So we're really excited from a physical standpoint.
I think the other thing too that's important, like, I know we've talked a lot about like community and our mission, but I think with community also comes like, how do you face, as a business and a new business, how do you face competition? And so we are really big about community over competition. So whether it's a coffee shop or another small business, we like to collaborate. We like to work with other businesses to prop them up as well. And so we have some retail shelves. We have local businesses that are either crafted or created here in the Raleigh Triangle area that sell out of the coffee shop. And then we also do a lot of events where we have vendors that are selling locally handcrafted or wellness related services that they can use our space to get themselves out there. And and
the same applies
great opportunity.
Same applies to coffee shops. I'll say for myself, I don't personally at this current point think that there's a line on how much coffee you can have. I'm sure my doctor would disagree, but the same logic applies. I don't think that just because we have a coffee shop, everybody should only get to come enjoy our coffee.
Yeah.
We oftentimes collaborate with other coffee shops, but also send people to them. Like, if we've had to, if we're closed at 3:30 and Parallax down the road is open, we've told people like, hey, I'm so sorry, we're closed. We're open again tomorrow at 6:30, but Parallax is still open for another, 30, 40 minutes or however long.
Sorry. As I just wanted to add that I think that it took a minute for people, especially in the coffee community, to realize that when I started coming around, or we started coming around and like chatting and trying to connect, that it was coming from a place of wanting to be in community with them versus wanting to be competitive with them.
Yeah.
There's a big difference, I think, from today and how I communicate and I'm able to work with some of these folks versus in the beginning, trying to for them to kind of decide okay, what is this guy doing? Why is he at my shop? Why is he reaching out to me? Why does he want to collaborate? And my hope and what I feel is that, through the work that we've done and the connections and networking that we've made and networking that we've done, that we've been able to show that we truly do believe in community over competition, and we want to see other coffee shops thrive. And I think the cool thing about all of us is that we each have our own specialty. We each have our own mission. We kind of have clientele that is overlapped based on what it is that they need that day, right? So if it's someone who's like, I really just need a hug, obviously come on in the door. If if there's a different need that they have that day and they can get that need met through another one of our community partners that are in the area serving coffee, then by all means, like go see them.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's awesome.
we frequent the other coffee shops all the time, even our local ones, even the
Yeah.
ones in Raleigh. I mean, there's a lot of times, as much as I adore our own coffee shop, right? There's times that if it's, busy in there, it's going to be really hard for us to get any work done without just wanting to talk and socialize with everyone in our community.
Right.
So there's a lot of times that we've gone and, kind of snuck away to Parallax or snuck away to, different shops in Raleigh and been able to get some work done while also still getting to be in a coffee space and enjoy our community.
That's awesome. And I think, as you're setting the tone, it's something that people have to get used to. Like they're not sure what these unhinged guys are doing. But as you're setting that tone, I think that's great. I think we can all take a few steps away from competition. Not that competition is inherently bad, but we could all be a little more collaborative. Where I know you've got some things that you're thinking, okay, if this goes great, we're going to do this. And let's hear it.
If we're going to talk, so smaller dreams right now.
We'll start out a little smaller.
Yeah, way to the kind of the big ones, but smaller dreams right now are obviously I want to see our furniture. I know that's I really want to see our furniture, but no, from a realistic standpoint, the kind of just getting to the point where we can also kind of absorb in where we're at. I feel like we've been so busy with these first few months that truthfully there are moments where I don't feel like it's actually hit us either. Or there's times at night that we drive by the shop and I'm like, wow, like I still cannot believe that it's there. So I think for us it's really just to continue to grow our mission, grow the types of events we're doing. We're trying to create a medium, I guess a middle ground between, the vendor markets and things like that to the ones that are rooted in mental health, like we've done in the past. Creating just the balance of different things like that. We've collaborated with local, law enforcement for different types of mental health awareness and community events and just overall community aspect there. From a much larger picture, I would say the next big move, which is probably a few years down the line, is to go into roasting our beans ourselves. So one of the things that are very unique to us is that we both are coffee enthusiasts. We love coffee. And so we knew if we were going to start a coffee shop, the coffee has to be incredible. So at the time we had collaborated with a small batch roaster based out of Clayton. And she had created the most incredible espresso bean for us that we adore. And I would say I probably protect that bean more than anything. Yeah, that blend more than anything that we ever do. And so at some point, obviously, things had evolved and she had gone to do other things in her life. And she was very, very trying to think of the word, supportive in giving us the exact specifications of our espresso bean. So we actually collaborate with the Muse and they out of Garner, and they actually make our roast our espresso bean. So it's still a bean that's exclusive to us. They don't roast it for anyone else or themselves. But eventually one day we would love to, one, learn the craft because it is something that is very unique and very exciting. But to just be able to have our espresso bean and be able to roast it ourselves and serve it, but also sell it and have it for people.
Definitely. I think we were super thankful that the Muse was able to replicate that roast and that blend profile. I think for me, getting to eventually fully learn that craft, but also be able to have that be a part of kind of our growth plan is also like there's like a therapeutic part of it too, because for me, like that kind of was something that the coffee business was for me in the very beginning. But obviously now with growth, there's team members, we have management, we have a lot more on our plate than what we did in the beginning. So some of that therapeutic side that kind of helped me heal a little bit internally is not as present. And so I think that being able to get into our next, at some point, our next phase or our next growth, and that being roasting, I feel like there's a big therapeutic piece that would be really great for myself and hopefully for our expansion.
Coming back to it being, a community restorative experience. I guess you guys are, and this is typical small business, you guys are not able to lean into all the great things that you have to offer because you're so busy offering them. So I get that, but that's awesome. Well, guys, this has been so wonderful. We really appreciate you taking out time. I know that your calendars have been extraordinarily full and we had to work ourselves onto them, and we appreciate you taking out time. And I think the fact that your calendars are so full is because you're doing such a great job and it is going so well. Like it's amazing. I mean, I love your location, your coffee, everything. Yay for you. I think it's great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And then thank you for the support too. I know that there's so many options when it comes to coffee, and the fact that you stumbled upon us was amazing. So thank you.
So we wish you all the greatest of good things. I am going to be, I think we're taking another field trip this week. So we'll be back in to get some more coffee and just check you out, see where things are. We'll be frequenting you from time to time. Love that.
You'll get an opportunity to try enjoy our spring flavors before they're gone. Our 13 days left, and then our summer menu will release June 1st. So
okay. Well, we'll have to check out the spring, and then we'll have to come back again to try the flavors. That'll be inspiration to draw us back in. But thank you so much. We really appreciate it, and this has been so exciting. Hope you enjoyed our conversation today. At Create Harmony, we're all about finding ways to soothe our souls and calm our bodies. And on that note, I want to remind you about a resource we have available that I don't want you to miss. It's our Peaceful Pathways box. It's a gift and an experience all rolled into one. So here's what I mean. Each season, we create a box that's filled with self-care items and meditation resources. But before you say, I can't meditate, let me explain a little more. In each box, you get a card, and it has a link with a series of guided meditations that are themed for the season. So when you go to the link, you click on that, and then there's a place for you to orient yourself to the experience. And we give very clear explanations. We tell you exactly how it works and how you can weave this into your rhythm and have more peace in your daily lives. All the meditations are less than 10 minutes long, so you can tuck that into almost any busy day. And let me paint the picture for you a little bit more. All you have to do is click on it, and then you settle in and listen for a few minutes. My voice is going to be your guide, and I'll provide just enough description that'll hold your attention, but I will not dominate your mind. So you'll just be listening along, and you'll conjure up images based on what my voice suggests, and you can see beautiful pictures, and you'll feel carried away to a peaceful place while you listen, and you'll finish up the experience relaxed and restored. Then also in the box are mental wellness and self-care goodies provided by Petal and Pink Mental Wellness Boutique, and this is intended to reinforce your experience. So for example, in our winter box, we talked a lot about snuggling up in a cozy nook, and in the box was a neat little hand warming mug and then a candle making kit. So you could take that mug, you could create a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, snuggle in your nook, you could make the candle, put the candle right beside you, and the whole experience becomes more robust. You've got peace with using your senses. You smell the candle and sip the tea, and you're listening. So that's like multi-sensory experience right there. And I want you to understand how powerful and pleasant that experience can be. So picture yourself. Your week has been extra busy and extra full, and everybody in your life seems to need something from you, and they need it right away. You feel tired, and at the same time, you feel just a little agitated and can't quite figure out how to decompress. And if you had these meditations and these self-care items, you'd have all the resources you need to care for yourself well. To get more information about this pathway to peace, go to our website, mycreateharmony.com. And until next time, peace.